Welcome back to Technique Wad. Today I want to talk about pistols. This is probably my favorite go-to movement for any time that I'm on vacation. I recently just got back from a pretty long trip. I was gone for about 3 weeks and there's no barbells. We could use our backpacks if we wanted to weight ourselves a little bit, but as far as getting a decent load on our legs, pistols are pretty much our only option. So my legs are all pistoled out for the moment, but they're really fresh in my mind, all the ways that I had to potentially scale, or the people that I was with on the trip had to scale their pistols. So pistols can tend to be problematic for two specific types of people, Number one, anyone that has a very limited range of motion at the ankle joint is going to have a hard time doing pistols. You can see if I can't bend my ankles very much, if I get to about here, then I'm going to start to fall over backwards during the pistol. You're going to have a lot of ankle range of motion here to be able to get down that low. So the way that you test that was the way that I was standing originally, both feet together. You want to put your arms out in front of you and try to go all the way down. If you can't get all the way down like this without falling over backwards, then you probably have some type of restriction, usually at the ankle, that's limiting you in your pistol range of motion. So that's the first thing. If you can't do that, then you're gonna probably want to spend a good bit of time stretching your ankle joints to see if you can get that range of motion. That way you can get full depth, on your pistol. If you can't, that's no big deal. Doesn't mean you can't do any single leg work. There's all kinds of variation that you can do to scale the movement until you have that full ankle range of motion. If not, then you're going to end up going down, and then your foot's going to rotate out, and your knee's going to dive in, and you're going to look like the guy that does the awful squat like this, except you're going to be on one leg when you do it. But still, it's just as hard on your knee as doing it when you're doing a bilateral movement like a squat or a deadlift. So we want to avoid that, keep our ACL meniscus area of our knee healthy for as long as possible. So to scale the pistol, there's a couple different ways you can do it. Probably my number one favorite way, kind of like a level one scaling, is to grab a set of rings, walk them back, and then as I go down, I push the rings out in front of me, and then I pull myself back up. Just like this. So that's kind of my level one. Level two, I like to hold on to a band. If you want, you can pull the band, maybe at an angle here, you can pull the band back into you. That way, it'll keep you from falling over backwards, and it also helps you up just a little bit, but not quite as much as the rings do. So again, same thing, I can go down, and the band will help me up. Level three, I like to do partial movements. Usually what I do is I sit down onto something, right around thigh parallel, maybe higher. If you need to start higher, that's okay. I put my feet all the way together. I never let people start like this. That's that same position we just talked about, which is hard on your knee. So I want you to start here, foot straight ahead, and then put one leg out in front of you, arms forward, and kind of rock into it and stand up. Ideally, you would do that, again, without moving your foot. A lot of people will go here, they'll go to rock forward, and they'll go like this. And they'll step their foot out into that kind of wompy knee position where you're getting twisting at the knee, and again, that's very hard on your knee. So keep your foot right where it is, feet together, one leg straight ahead, drive through your heel. If you want to try to control it back down into the same spot, that's a good way to do it. If you want to start at the bottom and just do the up portion and then sit yourself back down and go again, that's a good variation to start with also. So that's level number three. And then level number four is the full pistol. You could debatably say that holding a weight out in front of you is considered scaling, because in some respects it makes it easier. Even though it's technically heavier, it still makes the movement a little bit easier by providing a little bit of a counterbalance so I don't fall over at the bottom. Where even though this is lighter, it's easier for me to fall over backwards. I like to have a little bit of a counterbalance for me personally. And if you want to have kind of like a level 3.5, one thing I didn't mention is that you can just do negatives. For a lot of people, I have them just go all the way down and then just sit all the way on the ground. And what that does is, for all the people that get halfway down and they go, and they kind of get scared, like, I'm not going to make it back up. Well, they're probably right. They might not be able to make it right back up in the first couple times that they try it, But eventually you have to go through that range of motion all the way through and get comfortable with it, even if you just end up sitting on the ground to start with. Eventually, as you gain strength, you will be able to go through that full range of motion. But if you never go through that bottom portion, then you're never training the muscle through that range of motion. Even if in the beginning, it's only that eccentric part of the lift where you're actively muscle lengthening. So that's how I prefer to scale pistols. If you want to make them a little bit harder, obviously you can always add more weight. You can put chains around your neck, you can hold a kettlebell or a plate, or you can put a weight vest on. There's all kinds of options for the pistol. The only little thing that I didn't mention, I don't recommend this all the time, but you can, I'll use this. You can, if you have plenty of strength but no ankle mobility, just to train that whole range of motion, you can go down all the way with your heel elevated up on something to kind of take your ankle out of it, or take that limitation out of it, so you can train the full range of motion as you're trying to improve your mobility at the ankle joint. So, all kinds of options. Hope you enjoy it. See you tomorrow.